Welcome to NATCA's Communicating for Safety 2024. CATCA is in the house. Thank you for being here, Jerry, Nick, and friends. 100 individuals. Before we start today, I want to take a moment to talk and remember the memory of a fierce advocate for our industry, an aviation expert, and a remarkable man. Please join me in dedicating the beginning of this CFS to Richard McSpadden. Please roll the video.
There are consequences when you make mistakes. Mistakes are really, when you're operating at a high level, like you guys do virtually every day, mistakes aren't consequence-free. But there's a difference in accepting the consequences and dealing with it and having harsh repercussions and not being willing to understand that you're putting people in a demanding environment and they're going to make mistakes. I was the old man, the commander and the leader, but that didn't mean I was immune from critiques and debrief. There was no rank in the debrief. What was more important than anything was the success of the mission. Have you ever noticed there are also organizations where people are having a lot of fun? And we did. We would strive for excellence simply because it was there. I shudder to think what our accident rate would be like without you guys and the work that you do controlling us every single day. There's a culture inside your operation wherever you work. There's a culture inside the NAS, and the question to ask yourself is, are you contributing to it in a positive way, or is it just kind of happening around you and you're just kind of flowing and following along? I would ask you to think about the previous because it's so much more fun to actually drive the culture that you want and be a part of it. There's rescues that you make every single year that just go unnoticed. You rescue a life, you get a pilot down, and you turn around, and there's somebody else checking in at 390. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for having me back here again this year.
A round of applause, please. On behalf of NATCA, I would like to thank you all for coming here today to participate in the premier Global Aviation Safety Conference. Since NATCA originally organized CFS in 1999, 25 years ago, this conference has served as a forum for aviation professionals from around the world to come together to discuss our shared challenges. CFS has become an unmitigated success. This success is because of you and other aviation leaders that have chose to be here every single year. 25 years ago, this conference was a small gathering of approximately 40 individuals. Think about that, 40 individuals from aviation, labor, and management. In the subsequent years, this conference has not only grown in size, but the value that it brings to our community. That success is because of you. There's 1,500 aviation-focused attendees here with a gear towards safety. Industry stakeholders, pilots, government leaders, air traffic controllers, and aviation safety professionals will come together this week to discuss the relevant issues that affect safety today, reinforcing our commitment to keeping the National Airspace System the safest in the world. So thank you to every past attendee, every panel participant, every keynote speaker, and every attendee, especially you, that has attended for the past 25 years for making CFS what it is today. We are not only committed to safety, we are obsessed with it. I'd also like to thank our sponsors and exhibitors, especially our 2024 grand benefactors, American Airlines, Collins Aerospace, and L3 Harris Technologies for their continued support of this conference. I would also be remiss if I didn't thank the Planning Committee and the National Office staff for the relentless work that they do behind the scenes to make this conference go off without a hitch. Thank you for all your hard work. And it has been quite a year since our last CFS. A historic FAA authorization bill has passed that included critical provisions for us air traffic controllers for maximum hiring for the next 5 years, delivering real solutions to address the critical staffing shortage. Congress recognized that the status quo was not working, so it included those provisions, and it also included provisions to study and implement expansion of the FAA's training academies, and adopt the Collaborative Resource Work Group CPC staffing numbers for our facilities, and to use those as the basics for the Controller Workforce Plan. Recently, a work group comprised of representatives from NATCA and the FAA have begun the process to collaboratively implement those numbers in our facilities, bringing much needed help. We have a very positive outlook driven by industry and the desire for the safest NAS. This CFS, we will also continue our tradition of honoring extraordinary NATCA members and friends throughout the program with award presentations over the 3-day conference. And that culminates with the Archie League Awards Banquet on Wednesday, where we will honor the best of the best in our profession. If you are here this week, it's because you believe in what you do is not only your job, but is your calling. The practical experience and the insight that you can share with fellow attendees is invaluable. We have a special guest today. I want to thank you and have a great conference, but this is another opportunity for a monumental change for our opening. For the first time ever, we're going to have a speaker, congressman, and I just want to give a great introduction because it's well-deserved. We will certainly have keynote speakers, panels, expanded exhibits, and you, which we can count on. But this year, it is my great pleasure to introduce a distinguished leader who's been a steadfast advocate for aviation and air traffic control professionals, Congresswoman Dina Titus. Representing Nevada's 1st congressional district, Representative Titus has been a tireless champion for the interest of aviation, industry workers, and aviation throughout her 7 terms in Congress. Congressman Titus is a strong leader who championed our issues in the FAA reauthorization bill, sponsoring the amendment that requires the FAA to implement maximum hiring for 5 years. We're going to hear from the Congresswoman who put the amendment in to solve and help our staffing issues. With her deep understanding of the challenges faced by aviation professionals and her dedication to public service, Representative Titus continues to be a vital voice in shaping policies that enhance safety and efficiency in our skies. Please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Dina Titus.
Well, thank you very much, President Santa. That is quite a wonderful introduction, but I can tell you, I couldn't do that by myself. I did it with all of your help. We are good partners as we worked on those provisions for the reauthorization of the FAA. I want to just welcome you all to my district. You're in the heart of my district. And it has a very busy airspace, I can tell you. We've got Nellis, you've got Henderson, you've got North Las Vegas, you've got McCarran, or now Reed, you've got commercial airlines, you've got private jets bringing people into all these special events we have. You've got helicopters taking people to see the Grand Canyon, and you've got more and more drones in that space. In fact, one of the hotels here on the Strip uses drones to deliver cocktails by the pool, so I don't know your relationship with that, but it might be important. Also, I'm a little hesitant about being here today. I'm glad that I'm not flying back to Washington until tomorrow, since all of you are here today in my district. I don't know who's watching the skies, but I'll be glad when you get back to work. But thank you anyway. You know, as I said, you are in the heart of the district. And we have had a hard time here in Las Vegas recovering from COVID. You know, we had 35% unemployment. That's like the Great Depression because we are so dependent on tourism and hospitality. But now we're the fastest recovering. We're down to about 4.5% because after COVID, people just wanted to get out and have fun, and where better to come than to Las Vegas. So a lot of that depends on what you do, watching our airspace and keeping us all safe and keeping travel efficient as we get back out into the world. So thank you for that. And I want to especially thank the Las Vegas TRACON folks. Anthony Borgert has been a friend of mine for many years, and we've worked together with his team to keep me informed on what the important issues are. You do such a good job not only educating, but advocating for the issues that do keep our air safe, and our skies safe, and keep the United States at the top of the level when it comes to worldwide consideration of these issues. You know, if I talked about aviation coming back, you know, that Harry Reid International last year welcomed 57.6 million passengers, and that's 5 million more than the last year before COVID. So that number is a real reflection of how much that has increased. Now, I want you to have fun while you're here in Las Vegas, but you know, we have a whole new crowd coming too. It's not just gambling and eating and shopping and all the fabulous shows we have. Maybe you've gone to the Sphere, you might want to check that out. But all the sports teams too bring a whole new crowd to Las Vegas. You've got the Raiders, who miraculously won yesterday, I might say. Don't tell them I said that. But the Aces, we've got the fabulous Aces and the Knights, and we're going to have a baseball team, and we're getting the race back, the F1 Formula race, the fighting championships. I mean, a lot of that. This is not your ballet crowd that's now coming to Las Vegas. So it's a whole new dynamic, and you are an important part of that. So we're excited about the kind of the revival of Las Vegas and our economy here. You know, the FAA bill was a pretty incredible accomplishment. During times in the past, it's been kicked down the road as many as 25 times before it could actually be reauthorized. And so I was glad that working together, we were able to get that done. You know, the House did a good job. We worked in a bipartisan way to get it passed. It just took the Senate a while to get it done. I learned when I first went to Congress that the Republicans are the opposition, the Senate is the enemy. And that was certainly the case here, but we finally got it done, and I think there are some things in there to really be proud of. You know, one of the things that was mentioned that we were proud of was that authorization levels for airports got increased by about 20% to update infrastructure, and that would be to, part of that is to convert to the use of sustainable fuels, which is coming fast as part of our future. But the key really was not just the airport infrastructure, but the people who make it work. And that is getting more people into this industry and having enough air traffic controllers to make it move passengers efficiently and safely, not just here in Southern Nevada, but around the world. You know, right now, and I don't have to tell you this, there are roughly 10% fewer fully certified controllers than there were 10 years ago, 10% fewer than that. And in previous years, we've seen the impact of having controller shortages. I think it was in New York where you had to stop flights for a while because they only had 54% staffing. So that's a key facility in a region that where so many flights come and go, they were delayed, people's plans were canceled, just unacceptable not only for efficiency in the economy, but for safety as well. We're also seeing if you don't have enough air traffic controllers, you'll be working 6 days a week with mandatory overtime. Now, it's already an extremely stressful job, and you add that to it, and it becomes even more demanding. So if we don't address these shortfalls, and I think we will now with the provisions that are in the FAA reauthorization bill, those delays are going to get more frequent, more severe, and place greater demands not only on the employees but also on the travelers. I worked with Representative Yackham on the other side of the aisle. It was a bipartisan amendment to the reauthorization bill to conduct maximum hiring so we can address this shortfall throughout the duration of the 5-year reauthorization. That's how long it will last. And so I was pleased with that collaboration. And Mr. Yackham and I were concerned about this problem, worked together and got language in the bill that would require the adoption of an updated controller staffing model that could be used by NATCA as we move forward so they can have a more accurate picture of what the demands are and how to best meet them and how to do a better job recruiting and retaining members of this workforce. But I can tell you that, like I said when I started, this FAA reauthorization wouldn't have been possible without all of your valuable input on the Hill with members, talking about what the issues are, showing in real life terms what their impacts are. Because every district has some kind of travel and tourism, some kind of little airport or connection to a major airport. So this should be something that concerns all of us, and it turned out that it did. But you know, another big issue is coming up. I'm going back tomorrow to Washington, and the thing that we really have left to do is to fund the government. Maybe a continuing resolution, the funding for this year runs out the last day of September. If we shut down government, you will go to work without getting paid. Now that is not a good situation ever, and we need to be sure that it doesn't happen now. So that's my commitment to you, is to go back and be sure that government is funded and that you are not the ones in the crosshairs if it's not. So I want you to always consider me a partner. I love serving on the aviation subcommittee. I will stay there if I get reelected, and I look forward to working with you as we move to kind of finesse or refine some of the issues in the FAA bill. Now, I know what you're doing here is very important. I know you've got a lot of meetings, but I want you to have a little fun while you're in my district. So if you have a little spare time, you can ride the world's largest Ferris wheel. You can go on a roller coaster if you're crazy enough on the top of a 120-story building. If you fall in love while you're here, you can get married at a drive-through wedding chapel. It has a mechanical arm that throws rice on your windshield. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So if you also lose a few nickels in the slot machine, don't think of it as a gambling loss. Think of it as supporting education for the children here in Nevada. Thank you so much. Call on me anytime. Thank you.